All right, good morning, people of YouTube. So we are back again today with a fan favorite deck profile. This time we have the return of Gallantmon. So with the new support that we get in EX3, Gallantmon got a couple of neat cards, but by far the best one had to have been this new wargrowlmon. So because of this card, this deck has seen actual tops in big level events. I think it was an Ultimate Cup that this deck got top 16 in. And there have been a couple other top 32s in various events. This deck is actually really strong now, and it's all because of this card. So if you guys have watched my most recent deck profile of this deck, you'll have noticed that I was playing the Greymon package. The reason for that was because this deck's biggest weakness was having to spend a turn to set up your tamers before you were able to actually do anything with your big level 6. So this new wargrowlmon fulfills the Rise Greymon's role of being a level 5 that spat out tamers from your hand. This card allows you to play a Takato from your hand or trash, and if you don't want to play a Takato, you can play a Guilmon as well. So this card is really, really strong. It's the only piece the deck needed, and it's because of this card that this deck is now a threat that's actually to be taken seriously in the meta. Whereas if you were paired up against this at a top level event, you might expect the easy win. But now you can't really do that anymore. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into my variant of this deck and some of my card choices. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure you guys like and subscribe. And we'll go ahead and start with the Digitama. So we got 4 copies of the Digimon from EX2. When attacking, draw a card with basically any card in the deck. This card is phenomenal, and really the only egg you want to be playing because you want to be seeing all your combo pieces. Next, we got 4 copies of the Guilmon from EX2. It searches your pieces, and it deletes small bodies with its inheritable. And you can bump that number up with your other inheritables. This is just a phenomenal card and something that you absolutely have to be playing 4 of. Next, I'm playing 3 copies of the Starter Deck 7 Guilmon. This card has a neat little comeback from behind mechanic. But the main reason you're playing this is for its inheritable effect of whenever you delete stuff, you draw a card. It's really nice, and it helps get you further into your deck and further into your combo pieces. For the last Guilmon name, I'm playing 2 copies of the promo Guilmon. This is just something extra. When attacking, you get to draw a card. This card is really great to bring back off the wargrowlmon in the mid-game if you need to see more pieces, if there's something that you're specifically missing. I really do like this card, and it's great early game as well. This off the Digimon lets you draw 2, and that's phenomenal. For the last level 3 red Digimon, we got 3 copies of the Guilmon X antibody. This card is super important. I want to bump this card up to 4, and I think if I was going to play 13th rookie, or 13th red rookie, this is what I would do. And I might consider doing that. This card helps trigger Cool Boy, helps delete small bodies, and it adds DP thresholds to your DP negation effects. So this card is really good. I do like it, and it progresses your gameplay further. But the best rookie, and the card that we want to be seeing turn 1 most of the time, is going to be the Sistermon Block from the Jessmon starter deck. So this card is absolutely phenomenal. When you play it, you get to discard a card and then draw 2. So with the wargrowlmon, the only downside of this card is the only way you're playing a Takato or a Guilmon off of its effect is if after you mill the 3 cards when digivolving into it, is if one player has 5 or more cards in trash. So if you hard play the Sistermon Block your turn 1, you discard a card, you're drawing 2 more cards, and then on your follow-up turn, you swing this into security before you digivolve into the wargrowlmon, you're hitting that 5 cards in trash because this and the card you discarded is 2, you'll mill 3 more and have exactly 5 and be able to play the Takato from either your hand or your trash. Plus, this card lets you discard your Takato so you can actually play it from trash and, discard your other pieces that you're seeing multiple copies of to help you get better cards. This card is just absolutely phenomenal, and you can even use the decoy effect in this deck because Gallantmon is a Royal Knight. I think 4 of this card is absolutely mandatory in this deck moving forward, and that's the biggest addition that I think we have for this deck, aside from the wargrowlmon. So going into the level 4s, I don't think this actually changes from my previous list. I play 4 copies of the starter deck 7 Growlmon, because I like gaining memory. I play 4 copies of the Growlmon X antibody, because X antibody cards are really good, and Cool Boy is a really good tamer. And then I play 1 copy of the Burning Greymon for Hybrid for game. This card is just in here as a 6,000 DP dude. You don't want to evolve this over your rookies anyway, so there's really no point in this being a Goonie. And we play a lot of red tamers, so evolving this in the late game is pretty free. Next, for the level 5s, I got 4 copies of the new wargrowlmon himself. Absolutely want to be playing 4 copies of this card. It's the main reason this deck is seeing viability now, and it's just a great card. You play a tamer. You can also play a rookie if you already have the Takato in play, or if you don't need another one. And then you just, even if you go down to 0 memory by evolving into this, you can, and you don't have the wargrowlmon X, you can just digivolve into the Gallantmon, and oh look, you just played a Takato, so that Gallantmon has Blitz. This card is insane. Play 4 of it. The other level 5 I'm playing is 4 copies of the wargrowlmon X antibody. So, because we're playing 4 of this wargrowlmon, we are seeing this early game, which means that we are getting the Takato in play relatively quickly, which sets up our gameplay. This card helps us overextend. This card makes it so that way you're gaining back memory for deleting Digimon on your opponent's side of the field, and you get to pop a wide board with this card. Yes, please, sign me up. This card basically makes it so that way you're clearing all of the small bodies, and then if you go into the Gallantmon X, then you can clear their big stack. So this card helps with your board control. It's great to swing with, because you can buff it with heroes and stuff like that, and then get all your win attacking effects off your lower level inheritables. This card is phenomenal, and I think this 4 and 3 split is my ideal ratio for these level 5s. So for the level 6s, I got 3 copies of the starter deck Gallantmon and 2 copies of the Gallantmon X. This is mostly because I only own 2 copies of the Gallantmon X at the moment. But in testing, I've really liked this ratio, because with my level 7s, I'm playing 1 copy of the Crimson Mode and 1 copy of the Blitz Omni. So this basically makes it so that I have 5 cards to go into for the level 6s with these Gallantmon and the Gallantmon X's. And then for the cards to go over the Gallantmons for game, I have the 2 Gallantmon X's, the Crimson Mode and the Omnimon. So I got this neat little 5-4 ratio going on here, and I do really like that. And these are just kind of the ideal cards to play. This Gallantmon makes it so that it just usually has security attack +1, which is really good into a deck like this. And since you're clearing most of their small bodies, this card is usually hitting 14,000 as well. So you can clear over most of the security cards you would check. And then with the hero boost, you're clearing pretty much all of them. And then with the Gallantmon X, you can trash security, you can restand, you can delete big bodies. This card kind of does it all. And it's really cool if you digivolve this on top of the Gallantmon after you swung with this. You know, get kind of a restand thing going on, swing again, and then you can do something like Blitz Omni for game. Which is why we do play the 1 copy of the Blitz Omni, in addition to the 1 Crimson Mode. Crimson Mode can get Blitz off the Takato, but it doesn't restand. So that's the reason why I do like this 1-in-1 ratio. But the Crimson Mode can just end games in certain matchups. If you're playing against Security Control, you're basically stalling until you see this card. And then whenever you see this card, you're winning the game. And, yeah. It's good in the grindy situations. It's good to just trash their security and end the game whenever they aren't expecting it. It's just absolutely phenomenal, and I do really like this ratio. I guess the only thing I would consider would be bumping up the Gallantmon X antibody by 1, or maybe adding a 2nd Crimson Mode in place of the Omnimon. But for now, this has really been working out, and yeah, all these cards definitely serve a purpose. So going into the Tamers, I'm playing 4 copies of Takato. I've seen people play 3. The reason I disagree with 3 is the same reason I disagree with only playing 3 copies of this wargrowlmon, and that's you want to see it as early as possible. If you see multiple copies of this in your hand, fine. You know, whatever. You have a couple cards clumping, you can discard them with the Sistermon. That's the card that you're choosing to discard. I'd rather see this card and not have it than need it and not see it. So you aren't winning without Takato, and cheating it into play with wargrowlmon is really important in the early game. And if you can get that going like turn 2 or turn 3, you pretty much feel like you're winning. So that's your power play, and you need to be playing into it. Going on into the rest of the Tamers, I got 2 copies of Hero. This card makes our Gallantmons and our wargrowlmon X's hit magic numbers that we feel safe whenever we swing, and it sets our memory. And then we got 2 copies of Cool Boy, because Cool Boy is really cool. Next I got, for the options, 2 copies of Red Memory Boost, because it helps us see all of our combo pieces. And then the flex slot of the deck. We have the single copy of From Master to Disciple. So this card is pretty neat. You can reveal 3 and add a card with Huckmon or Sistermon or Royal Knight and its traits to your hand. So this card grabs your Gallantmons. It can grab your Omnimon. The only card in your top end it can't grab is the Crimson mode, but it can actually grab a Sistermon as well. And then, like, let's say you play this turn 1 and you see a Takato off of it. Then you're good as gold. You discard the Takato, and you are set up for your big wargrowlmon play, because this card helped put some cards in your trash. Let's say you picked 1 of them up. This card put 2 in your trash. The wargrowlmon will put 3 in your trash. You're at that 5 in trash magic number, so you get to play the Takato back. So this card is really cool. It will also help you by reducing your Digivolution cost whenever you Digivolve. It doesn't have to be a Huckmon. I found that out. Shout out to my buddy Justin for helping me with this combo, but you can actually like go into a Gallantmon for super cheap with stuff like this in the Takato. And yeah, it's a really good card, but you absolutely don't have to play it. This card can be a 13th red rookie. It can be another red memory boost. It can be another cool boy. But I do recommend you test this out and at least see if you like it, because it is just a good card. But yeah, that's all I have to say about the deck list. Deck is strong. Don't underestimate it. If you play a wide board, you will be punished. This deck will deal with it. And if you play just one big body that doesn't have protection against deletion, this deck will deal with it. And it will gain memory back for doing it. Like tapping all the Takatos, gaining extra memory, giving something memory loss effects with the wargrowlmon X can just make it so that way this deck gains value by going off, and it just snowballs super hard. It's a lot of fun to play, and if you like big, flashy strategies, I highly recommend you test this out. But take it easy, everyone. We will see you guys in the next video.